if I like knew this person in real life, I would literally never want to talk to him. Like, he's like literally the epitome of everything I don't enjoy about human beings. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Pooja. Thanks so much for tuning in as usual. And today we are going to be... Actually, I think I need something before we can start this video. One sec. Okay, now we're ready to start this video because in today's video we are going to be spilling the tea. Sorry if that was kind of cringy, but I kind of wanted to put in a montage of me making chai and thought it would be fun to share in a video like this, so that's why you had to sit through that. Hopefully it was nice and enjoyable and not like annoying, and if it was, I hope you skipped right to the part where we start talking. Anyway, today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions book tag. Now, I have seen this book tag around a lot. I think it's like quite old. I'm not honestly sure who started it, but I'll link the videos below where I first saw it, and you can go check out those booktubers. They're all awesome. But I thought it was just like a fun book tag where you could talk about books that you like but not many people do. That's all this is, and I'm going to be drinking my chai while we do this, so that should be really nice. It smells so good, so I'm really excited. The first question is a popular book or series that you don't like. So I think this one is actually like kind of controversial, and I think it might have been my fault, the reason I didn't like it, but my answer for this one is American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I think it was a really, really well-written book, but I listened to it via audiobook on Libby, and I feel like the narrators maybe just like went over the top, and that maybe contributed to why I didn't like the book, but I felt like I wasn't really able to connect with the characters, and I really liked the story that it told and the, sharing the experience of being Black in America and dealing with this very personal, intense relationship between the two main characters. So I really enjoyed the premise, and I liked the writing style, but I don't know, I didn't find myself really connecting with the characters in a way where I wanted to root for them and I wanted them to sort of figure out the differences that they had between each other, and I really do think a lot of the reason that I didn't enjoy my experience reading the book was because I listened to it via audiobook. So I definitely want to try it again because it's obviously a book that a lot of people really enjoyed, and I think I learned a lot while reading it, and I think it was an important book for me to have read. I just didn't find the experience super enjoyable, and I found myself like forcing myself to just keep listening to it to get through to the end. A book or a series that many people don't like but you love. Okay, so we're gonna have to go back a little into like my middle school, high school years, but my answer for this one is the Life as We Knew It series by Susan Pfeffer, I think is how you say it. So this series is basically about this family and kind of how they go through this end of the world scenario where the moon just kind of like gets hit to be closer to the earth, and it kind of sets off this whole apocalyptic thing around the world with like all these weather events and crazy things happen. The world is basically ending, but this family is kind of going through all of that and trying to survive. And because of the ingeniousness of their mother and just pure luck in a lot of cases, they are largely able to make it through. And it's told as these like diary entries by the teenage daughter in the family. And a lot of people really hate this series, and I agree that like the third book is really bad. Like the way she just takes the narrative and it goes off into this like weird like classist society thing that has come up. I don't know, I just hated the third book, but I really loved the first couple of books, and maybe it was like I could just really relate with the main character because I was also a teenage girl while I was reading it. And I also weirdly really enjoy post-apocalyptic novels and movies. I don't know, it's like this weird thing that I really like to read. Okay, the third question is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you didn't want them to end up with / an OTP that you don't like. So this is not a love triangle, it's just an OTP that I didn't really enjoy. And that one was in Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I actually talked about this in a previous video that I was doing for the Around the World series. This is a book that I read for Mexico, and I really loved this book. I thought the horror elements were like super well done, it was super bizarre, and I enjoyed it. But the main characters that end up getting together in it just felt like a very forced pairing. It felt like it didn't really need to be there, and it also felt like it didn't add a lot to the story and was just kind of like awkward and weird, and I was like, why are these people a couple? I don't want to ruin the plot too much, so I won't say anything more beyond that, but once you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was just like this cringy relationship where I was like, why is there just like a romance in here just to have a romance in here? This book would have been like really good without it, and I don't know, it could have just been like less of a romance. I don't know, I just thought that was like weird, or it could have been like better developed so that it kind of made more sense. So I don't know, that was one that I didn't really like that much. Question number 4 is a popular genre that you hardly reach for. Oh, this is a big one. So I know on BookTube, like literally everybody loves high fantasy. Everyone's like obsessed with it. People are always reading all these like adventure quest books with like dragons in them and stuff, and I'm just not into that. I don't love high fantasy books. I think I've mentioned this before, but a lot of the reason that I tend to reach for books and tend to read books is because I want to like learn a different perspective or understand how somebody from a different part of the world thinks. And so when you're kind of putting people into like a world that doesn't actually exist and it's like a pure fantasy, I feel like that element of reading kind of gets lost because I'm not really like learning something that's directly applicable to life and how I engage with communities around me. So I don't know, I just find pure fantasy books like, I find that they don't like add too much to my like thought process, my personality, my life in general, and yeah, they're like pure entertainment, but I kind of come to read books because I want to be entertained, but I also am looking for something that will just kind of like help me to understand new perspectives, and I just don't get that from fantasy, so I tend not to read a ton of fantasy. Okay, number 5 is a popular or beloved character that you don't like. I don't know if this is actually a very beloved character, but definitely a popular character. So I recently read Normal People, also part of my Around the World series. I was reading it for Ireland, and I really liked how the book was written, but I thought Connell was like the most annoying person ever and like could not understand why anybody would think he was cool. And I actually watched the first episode of the web series as well. I need to like still watch the rest of it. And I was like, this guy is just so annoying and like all of his decisions make no sense and he's just like so mean to Marianne and like what, like I just did not understand why like she could not like, I don't know, I just could not understand why like a reader would like want him to be successful or like want him to be happy, because I was like, you suck. Like, I understand that the book is like all about why he's like a complex person and she's a complex person and they both make really terrible decisions and like how that keeps bringing them together and stuff, but I was just like, if I like knew this person in real life, I would literally never want to talk to him. Like, he's like literally the epitome of everything I don't enjoy about human beings and like people that I knew in college that I just like really disliked a lot. And yeah, I don't know, I really hated him as a person when I was reading the book, and I was like, I cannot understand why people were like, you know, fangirling about him, and I was like, bruh, he sucks. So anyway, that's my answer for that. Number 6 is an author that you can't seem to get into. So I do have an answer for this one, and that is John Green. So I do have like a full box set of all his books. I have Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, Looking for Alaska, and then one more that I can't remember. I read Fault in Our Stars, and I think I read Paper Towns at some point as well. And John Green's books are obviously super popular, but I don't know, I just like couldn't really get into them. Maybe it was like kind of his writing style. I don't know, I just didn't really love love any of his books, and I only really read 1.5 of them, so maybe I should give the rest of them more of a chance. But yeah, I just wasn't a huge fan, and then I think like I watched the Fault in Our Stars movie and was like, I don't like the story, and then I recently watched the Bollywood adaptation of Fault in Our Stars and really hated that too, even though it's really sad because the main actor, Sushant Singh Rajput, he actually passed away. That was the last film that he made before he passed away, so I was really looking forward to it as this like last time to sort of see him on screen and kind of find that closure, because I was a pretty big fan of his, but then the movie was terrible and that was really a letdown. So I don't know, I just don't love the way the story is like built up, and I just couldn't get into John Green really. Number 7 is a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing. Okay, my book trope that I don't really like is the chosen one book trope, where there's like this person who's like predestined to change the world and like solve all these problems and like save their community or village or city or whatever it is, and fix everything in that world that they live in. I think what I don't like a lot about that is like there's one person who is like the only person that can like save everybody, and like I kind of like it when there's like a random person who just like takes the initiative and like builds the skills and like figures out how to save people and like be the change maker in a society, but like it's not because someone just like made a prophecy about them. So I don't know, that trope, I don't love it, and I think it kind of like comes from a place of me in real life wanting to think about like if there's some huge societal problem that like you feel passionate about. I feel like any person can, you know, try to access different resources and try to create change themselves, no matter if they think they were like set up for success or not. So I really like the thought of that being like a successful story in real life, and maybe that like translates into my reading tastes as well. So I don't love it when there's like this predestined chosen one who's the only one who can fix everything and nobody else can do it. Okay, the next question is a popular book/series that you have no interest in reading. So I think for this one, I would say any of Sarah J. Maas's books. I've watched so many reviews of them on YouTube, and lots of people love to review these books, lots of people love to read them, and they just like don't sound interesting to me at all. I've watched like at least 50 reviews of her books, and just none of them inspired in me this need to like read them, so I will probably never pick them up, and they just don't interest me at all. The 9th question is, the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation is better than the book? And I think, yeah, this is the last question. So my answer for this one is actually 5 Point Someone by Chetan Bhagat and 3 Idiots, which is a movie that was made in Bollywood starring Amir Khan, Kareena Kapoor, R. Madhavan, and Sharman Joshi. The movie is not actually fully reflective of the book. It was more inspired by the book than being like a full adaptation of it. But I think the movie just kind of like creates this more like feel-good atmosphere that makes you believe that change can be made in the Indian education system. The whole thing takes place at an elite engineering college in India, and kind of talks about like the pressures that students have to go through and how difficult all of that can be on people and how it kind of stunts creativity. And I think that like the commentary on the education system is just like much more well done in the movie, and it kind of gives you hope that change can be made, and that makes you kind of root for the characters, and it's just like a fun experience, whereas the book is like fine, but it's like fine. Like it's a very average novel. It also doesn't give you a whole ton of inspiration that the system can be reformed and that people who are a part of it can be changed. So I wish that there had been like more of an element of that. I also don't think, honestly, Chetan Bhagat, like, he's not like a writer that I really enjoy reading. I have like tried reading a couple of his other books and just like didn't like them at all. So yeah, that is the tea from today's video on the Unpopular Opinions book tag. I hope you enjoyed, and hope this was fun, and I hope you liked me making my chai at the beginning, and that was kind of nice too. Until next time, I will see you later. If you liked this video, please leave it a like. If you found anything interesting, please leave a comment below, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.